Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us. I am Mon Isberto, and this is Optics, the politics of perception.
Two joints.
Yung pinapangarap po nating bansa.
Pagandahin po natin ang ating minamahal na bansang Pilipinas.
In this show, we take a look at what presidential candidates are telling their audiences, the electorate, the what, the how, and the why of their various communication campaigns. And to do this, we need the help of experts, really smart guys who are working in this field. Oh, he's laughing already. Our guest for this particular episode, he's a campaign strategist, persuasion specialist. He's the president of Agents International, Alan Herman. Oh, welcome.
Sir Mon, hi. That is I, the persuasion specialist. And I somehow persuaded you to introduce me very nicely.
Maganda yung tunog eh.
Diba?
This is not just the optics, it's also the audio.
Yes,
anyway.
nakakabola din. Minsan, Sir Mon.
Well, anyway, let's get straight into the subject. Our candidate of discussion in this show is none other than Vice President Leni Robredo. And this is a very interesting discussion. I'm looking forward to it. But let's start with the optics.
Absolutely.
Okay? We've got a video that we want to share with you, and let's roll it now.
Sa mga tinik natin ngayon, iisa lang ang leader na magpapagaling sa ating mga sugat. Alam natin na kapag ang pinuno ay tapat, walang tiwali, walang mang-aapi. Kahit sino ka man, patas ang laban. Sa pamilya, sapat ang kabuhayan.
Thank you po.
Sabay-sabay po nating tuparin ang ating mga pangarap para maging kulay rosas ang ating bukas.
Okay.
Kulay rosas indeed. That's a lot of rose-colored pink right there in terms of optics.
Well, that's it, no? I mean, let's start with the imaging.
Right.
Okay? Even before you say something, it's what people see.
Of course, your first moment of truth.
Yep. And what you see right away is, first of all, that strikes you is the color.
Pink na pink.
Pink na pink. And then, of course, the candidate is a woman.
Indeed. So, baka yun yung visual lock na ginagamit nila, no, Sir Mon? The fact that she's a woman, the campaign team realized that her dominant selling idea is the fact that she is indeed the only female candidate. So you might as well leverage on that and use a color that is traditionally feminine.
Oh, but is that a wise choice?
Is that a wise choice?
I mean, di ba napaka-macho ng mga Pilipino?
Medyo, oo. Yan yung susunod na tanong dyan. Wise choice ba yan? Kasi ang Pilipino mahilig sa machismo, di ba? It's a man's society.
Kahit nagkukunwari.
Kahit nagkukunwari. And I'll get to that in a bit na, Sir Ma. Pero yung choice nila for pink, I think was first out of necessity. Kasi una iniwasan nila yung kulay na yellow. I think that was a mindful, very strategic decision kasi the word dilaw or dilawan, diba, na-twist nila yun to the point wherein dilaw or yellow came to represent everything na intellectual snob ka, you are elitist, in fact anti-poor sometimes,
so parang
mapang-aping oligarch ka.
So parang anything but yellow.
Anything but yellow. And yet still retaining that aspect of femininity. So, pink was perhaps that choice. I'm sure pinag-aralan nila. Now, to your earlier point naman, yung pagiging macho, siguro mga decades ago, 30 years ago, tagal na yan, Sir Mon. 30, 40 years ago, baka yung...
Sandali.
baka yung pink na, baka yung zeitgeist nun or yung social-political culture nun, baka ma-offend pa yung mga macho, yung mga barakong Pilipino. But ngayon, because of the recent wokeness of the generations, na they're now embracing that gender cannot be confined to colors and images and even manner of dressing, naging mas tolerant and open na Ako, personally, I don't mind wearing a pink shirt. I don't mind wearing, having pink colored accessories because ano na yan, di ba? Kumbaga, hindi na kasing stricto. So, I think, hindi naman nakakasama.
So, in your thinking, Alan, no? Kumbaga, it's not at least net negative.
It's not a net negative.
Okay.
Perfect way to phrase it. Sinubukan nilang i-evolve yung term, di ba? The derogatory term. Dati, dilawan. Ngayon, sinusubukan nilang gawing pink lawan. I don't know if you've even seen this.
Parang hindi pa.
Hindi siya naging kasing resonant.
Okay.
So, in the end, I think for me, as a campaign strategist, smart move, good choice.
Well, at least umiwas ka sa isang problema.
Umiwas ka sa isang problema. At the same time, na-highlight mo yung DSI or dominant selling idea ng kandidato na siya nga, siya ay isang female leader na tayo rin naman mga Pilipino, meron tayong mga ina na nakikita natin, especially now, moms have careers, but at the same time, they still have that nurturing homemaker aspect where they're keeping the house together. Sila naman na nagpapatakbo, yung ama na nagtatrabaho, yung mga ina nagtatrabaho din. So, ano siya experiential siya, di ba? Ideal, insight, definition, experience. So, it ties into our experience. Pag nakita natin yung pink, nanay si Leni, parang nanay ko rin.
Okay. Well, speaking of images, let's go to another area. I want to show this one on the screen. Drone shots.
Oh, the famous drone shots.
Well, kasi, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but my impression is that this election, I think, is the first election I've seen where drone shots have really played a much more visible role. No?
Absolutely.
Di ba? Tulad nito mga shots na ito, usually large crowds.
Yes.
Without saying anything, you're saying so much.
Well, alam mo, offshoot din yan, Sir Mon, ng fact na kung tumingin ka sa mga online shopping ngayon, makakabili ka ng magandang drone, less than 5,000 pesos. So, it's also that, no?
Yeah.
Dati kasi, yung tinatawag nilang aerial shot. Literal na aerial shot siya. You need a crew up there to take that aerial shot, or you need to be in a high lofty place with your massive zoom lens. So ngayon, naging very prevalent yung drone shots because the technology, number one, has made it possible. But number two, this is also a way for candidates to muscle flex. Yung tinatawag nating muscle flexing.
Ano yun? What does that mean?
Dati, di ba, yung mga sinaunang panahon, Sir Mon.
Ito na naman. O sige.
Parang may patama ng konti na. Di ba, makikita mo sa dyaryo, front page ng dyaryo, blank, candidate X, holds massive rally in Luneta, tapos ang daming tao. Yun yung pinapakita mo na meron kaming force, may puwersa kami, maraming sumusuporta, your muscle flexing, and it's also the way to get a bandwagon effect going.
Pero okay, how does that now impact on the campaign of VP Leni? Is it, well, I suppose the whole point of these drone shots is to generate a sense of momentum for the campaign.
In my opinion, VP Leni and her team are no longer running a campaign. They're igniting a crusade. This has already become a crusade. This has already become a movement. That's why they use words like pink wave. Diba? Napakarami ng tao, unstoppable force na ito. Sumali na kayo. Dahil, ito na, ang dami na namin. We will, and if you notice, their messaging is, the pink wave will hit Pasig, the pink wave will hit Makati, the pink wave will hit Pasay. Ano sila, by area. So parang the message is, aabot at aabot din kami dyan, and you will be swept up.
This impact has these visuals have such, I think, generating a significant impact to the campaign. But before you answer that, I think we have to take a break, mga kapatid. Don't go away, babalik po kami. Okay, we're back mga kapatid, and we're going to continue our discussion about VP Leni's presidential campaign with our guest, Mr. Alan Herman. Okay? Alan, sige, tuloy natin ito. No? Let's now take a look from imaging to messaging.
Yeah.
So, the Leni campaign has a few key phrases, and this is one of them. No? Paulit-ulit ang
It was the first,
natin.
actually, Sir Mon. Yan yung nauna.
Let Leni lead.
Yeah.
Okay? What do you think?
Well, nice alliteration. Kasi pag sinasabi nilang messaging, ano lang yan, di ba? Yung sinasabi nating ideal, it has to be IDEAL. Di ba? Insight, definition, experience. It has to be activate. You can activate it and it should be evergreen, longevity. Kailangan hanggang forever na yan. Era
Okay.
para sa mahirap, di ba? 100 years, pwede mong gamitin yan. So, if you take a look at Let Leni Lead, and through the lens of ideal na, insight, ano yung insight na nakukuha mo dito? Let Leni Lead. Well, visually, makikita mo, the pink is there. Ano yung
Hindi
insight?
mawawala yan.
Let Leni Lead.
Ah.
Two insights you will get here. Urgency. Kailangan na natin magbago ng leader. Let Leni Lead
Okay.
Di ba? So, that means the current leader is not up to par. So, that's the first insight you get from this.
Okay.
Secondly, that Leni does have the capability
To lead.
right?
Okay.
And then the definition, what is the differentiating factor? How is she different from others? She is a leader. And then the experience, does it tie into our experience? Have we seen her in a leadership role in the OVP? Naging leader ba siya sa OVP?
Okay.
So yan, it allows the person, yung tinatawag nating lunchbox, pwede mong kalkalin. Then, iisipin mo, naging leader ba si Leni? Ano yung experience ko bilang leader si Leni? Ito yung ginawa niya sa OVP, ito yung ginawa niya ng mga sakunan, ng mga disaster, etc., etc. My problem with this, honestly, is activate. It's hard to activate this
Why?
pipeline. It's hard to bring it down to the people kasi number one, English siya.
Oo nga, no?
English siya, Let Leni Lead. And traditionally, in fact now, lumalabas, pinag-uusapan, DNE talaga dapat ang target mo sa messaging.
Okay.
Let Leni Lead might be too baseline and not hardworking enough. Tayong mga communicators, sir, naalala na iintindihan natin yung terms na baseline at hardworking. Ito perhaps is not hardworking enough
Okay.
para sa DNE socio-economic class.
Actually, yun ang isang parang general question na gusto ko i-follow up sa iyo Kasi yung observation ng iba nga, medyo high,
Yes, sir.
medyo alta. Yung
which is-
unang dating, di ba?
Which is inherited from the previous incarnation of the pink, di ba? So yun yung medyo nagiging challenges and hurdles ng Leni campaign. I like this campaign, honestly, it appeals to me, but in terms of voter percentages, ilang porsyento lang ba ako ng bumobotong Pilipino?
Oo nga.
Kasi ako nakukuha ko to, naiintindihan ko to, nakaka-relate ako dito. Nakaka-relate ako dito. Tapos may call to action pa, bonus.
Okay.
Let Leni Lead. Ano siya? Call to action, tinatawag natin. Pero ilang porsyento lang ako ng populasyon. So, they started with this and then ultimately minodify nila.
But let me follow through on this kasi nga, okay, nabanggit na nga natin na medyo, unang dating is medyo alta nga.
Alta, medyo, sir. Angat.
Have they made adjustments?
Indeed they have. Indeed they have. No? Ang campaignable na ginagamit nila ngayon, yung sa gobyernong tapat, angat buhay lahat.
Okay. So Tagalog na.
Naging number one, naging Filipino.
Oh.
Number two, still retain that aspect of lunchbox messaging. Siguro I should explain that, that term.
What do you
I keep
mean?
on using it, lunchbox messaging. Kasi sa aming mga communicators, dalawa lang yan, di ba? Yung tinatawag nating lobo o lunchbox. Lalo sa politiko. Minsan, ang message mo pwedeng lobo lang siya, it's bright, it's attractive, makikita sa malayo, it makes you feel good kasi lobo siya, it's a kumbaya moment. Pero pag kinalkal mo, pag tinignan mo, ano ba nasa loob ng message na yan? Wala pala, hangin.
Hangin.
Hindi mo pala pwedeng i-distill, hindi mo pwedeng pag-isipan, hindi ka pwedeng, nawawala yung tinatawag natin sa communication, sir, na journey. It doesn't take me to a journey.
Oh.
So, pag
Hanggang doon lang.
Hanggang doon lang.
Oh.
Halimbawa, pero may trade-off yan, sir. May trade-off yan. Hindi ko sinasabing masama yan. Ang akin lang is be prepared for the trade-off. If you choose a lobo messaging, unity, pagkakaisa, wow, ganda tignan sa malayo. It's a bright red in the case of former Senator Marcos Jr., di ba? It's a bright red big balloon.
Oh.
Pero be prepared for the trade-off. Ang trade-off niyan, hindi mo pwedeng kalkalin kasi anong sagot sa kahirapan? Unity. Anong sagot sa West Philippine Sea? Unity. Bakit ako walang trabaho? Kasi hindi tayo nagkakaisa. Magkaisa na kayo. Magkakaroon ka na ng trabaho. Wala na siyang, it's not open to scrutiny. So, hindi ka pwedeng sumali ng debate, hindi ka pwede magpa-interview, hindi ka pwede sumali sa mga...
Kung hanggang doon lang ang messaging mo, you're gonna have problems.
Pero it's a bright red, beautiful balloon.
Okay.
So, meron siyang advantages, disadvantages. Kanya-kanya lang ano yan, di ba? Choice, di ba? Ultimately, we have to make that choice. Versus a lunchbox messaging. Yung lunchbox messaging naman, sa gobyernong tapat, angat buhay lahat. So, pwede mong buksan. Bakit? Pag matapat ang gobyerno, kasi hindi ako ninanakawan. Kasi yung binabayaran kong tax, mababalik sa akin na serbisyo. Magkano ba ang nawawala sa korupsyon? Taon-taon. X billion, no? E di sana, nilagay na lang nila yan sa mga eskwela, sa healthcare, sa ano.
So ito yung hardworking.
Yes, ito ngayon yung hardworking. But at the same time, kailangan mo rin tanungin sa sarili mo, ilang botanding Pilipino ba ang willing na pag-isipan yung mensahe mo, nakalkalin, who will distill it, who will actually go on that journey with you. So may trade-off siya. Lobo o lunchbox?
I mean, the more I do this show, Alan, mas napapaisip ako na it's images that really trigger either one kind of reaction or the other. Halimbawa, itong image nito.
Nako, very polarizing image.
Oo nga, I mean,
very polarizing.
si VP Leni dito, naipit ng traffic, sumakay ng tricycle, ng motorcycle. On the one hand, parang ano siya, what you call this?
Every man.
Oo.
Di ba?
Actually, every man pa.
yes. Yung care attributes, di ba? Ano siya, relatable, di ba? It's that's the R in the care attributes, di ba? Relatable kasi ang daming nakita nila, she's one of us kahit vice presidente siya. Sumakay dahil ng traffic. On the other hand, binatikos, epal. Ano daw yan? Publicity stunt. In the past, we've had clumsy attempts, di ba, by other politicians to engage in similar political stunts. Pero para sa akin, personally, ako net positive sa akin to, overwhelmingly.
Well, especially after lumabas yung video ng motorcycle driver.
Yon ang naging, sir, yun ang naging cementing factor.
Parang tipping point for me.
Yes. Naging cementing factor yan. Kasi, yung mismong motorcycle driver na in-amplify niya yung authenticity of the moment, di ba? So, at kung talagang papag-aralan mo ang buhay at behavior ni VP Leni, I'm not saying it's one way or the other, but if you really scrutinize her life, her behavior, and not only her but even of her children and her late husband, makikita mo na hindi kata-katakang gawin ni VP Leni yan.
Okay. Well, let's take a look at it from different angles. No? Kasi halimbawa, like you said earlier, there's always a plus and there's always a minus. No? And I emphasize that because VP Leni, according to the studies, is the most trolled candidate in this election.
Ano na yan, sir? I think the studies will just a cursory view of your SOCMED accounts. You will see na siya talaga ang pinaka-troll.
No, but from your vantage point, what's been the net effect on her of this, this continuous attack on her for, I think, quite some time now, according to the studies? Is it been net positive, net negative? What do you think?
Ako, napakalangot ng sagot ko dyan, Sir Mon. Una, lagay muna natin sa tamang konteksto.
Okay.
We actually live in a time right now, we live in a time and in a moment of our country na mas pinaniniwalaan pa ng tao yung nakita nila sa TikTok o sa Facebook o sa YouTube kaysa sa Supreme Court ruling. Supreme Court ruling ng Korte Suprema ng Pilipinas. Ito na ang dokumento. Hindi ako maniniwala dyan, doon ako sa Facebook, TikTok, or YouTube. So, because of the trolling, I think it is an overwhelming net negative. You're talking about a lawyer, an economist, a lady who has raised 3 daughters who are all hyper achievers, and yet there are people who authentically and actually believe she is, and pardon the word, I'm only mirroring and mouthing the word that is used, bobo.
Okay.
There are actually people who truly in their heart of hearts believe that VP Leni is lutang, bobo, lugaw ang utak.
Baka dyan na pumapasok yung woman factor.
Dumikit, kasama sir, kasama doon. When in fact all reality does not will point to the fact that it is not consistent. Paano mo natawag na bobo, lutang, lugaw yan when in fact it is well established. She's an economist, she is a lawyer.
So you have this continuous troll attack, but on the other hand, you have this outpouring of popular enthusiasm. Di ba may salita na nga, abonado kasi volunteer based siya, volunteer based. But before abonado, I would balik natin sa sa tema ng show, di ba, optics. So in fact, ang ganda because on one hand, may mga drone shots na pinapakita wherein they're all hugging. On the other hand, may pinapakita din ng rally ng ibang kampo kung saan nagsusuntukan, nagsasapakan, nagbabatuhan ng monoblock, ng medyo ibang image ata.
Medyo iba yung image. And then, you dovetail that with a message, again, optics, and the message of radikal ang magmahal. Radikal na pagmamahal. So now, it actually, in a way, and if you're talking about building a crusade or igniting a crusade or a movement, nilagay the demarcation line now is so clear. This is now good versus evil. This is pagmamahal versus puot.
Well, whatever happens, Alan, to this election and the campaign and the actual voting, parang may case study tayo ngayon na parang isang campaign na ibang tono.
Alam mo, Sir Mon, pag-aaralan at pag-uusapan itong halalan na to for generations to come because however which way it goes, tama ko kayo. And ako, I'm all for free, honest, and clean elections. Yun lang ang talagang mahalaga. Vox populi, vox Dei. The will of the people is the will of God.
Okay.
Pero sa totoo lang, this is the bend in the road. Dito natin makikita especially how campaigns will be run in the future. Kasi ngayon natin makikita, halimbawa na lang, kung ang isang kandidato ang manalo with a Lobo message, you can already be assured na
kokopyahin.
If it isn't broke, why fix it?
Yeah. Okay.
Bakit pa ako mag-a-attend ng debate? Hindi ko pala kailangan ng or a message of radical love pala, hindi siya engaging. So dito natin makikita yung future candidacies din. At roll pala, bago ako mag-isip ng advertising rollout, iisipin ko muna yung troll army ko buo.
Ay, nako, aray. Sige. We have to take a break, Alan.
Of course.
Mga kapatid, don't go away. We'll be right back. Okay, this is really an existential moment, because on the one hand, you've got these tried and tested techniques na kilala na natin, we understand it already, and then you have this online, not really surveys, but online studies.
Yes.
Na the logic isn't quite clear to you. The only thing that impresses me, for example, is that there's so much data that they collect.
Right.
Kasi the more you use your phone, for example, the more information you get.
Right.
Where is this going?
Well, again, I think this should be laymanized and contextualized.
Okay.
I hope my analogy doesn't offend anybody.
Okay. Go.
I hope my analogy doesn't, we live in a, sana hindi ako makancel. Pero let's just say na ang contest ay, after a certain period of time, sino sa tingin mo ang papayag? Magiging, who will lose the most weight? Biggest loser siya. Ang traditional survey na alam natin, Pulse Asia, SWS, snapshot yan.
Yeah, that's right.
Snapshot.
Tama.
So, on month 3 or month 4 of a, let's say, 15-month contest ng papayatan Biggest Loser, they will all let the contestants line up, pipicturan.
Okay.
It is a snapshot in time. On this date, ito itsura niya, ito itsura niya, ito itsura niya. Yan ang survey. Ang Google Trends or Google Analytics, tinitignan, sino dyan ang pinakamalakas kumain? Ano yung typical meal nitong tao na to? Ilang calories burned to sa isang araw? How much does this person walk, exercise? Anong sleeping cycle?
Okay, now if you put it that
all
way.
of which play a factor in weight loss. So they're measuring different things. A survey like SWS or Pulse will take a snapshot in time and you can see, ay, malayo pa habulin na to, ang laki pa niya, oh. Ito medyo payat na. But if you look at trends and other factors, and if you measure, yeah, but what is the eating pattern of this guy? What is the how many steps does he take? Ano yung heart rate niya, average heart rate niya? Then makikita mo, baka umabol to.
Well,
Yun ang magandang analogy sa, sa survey.
Well, thank you for putting it that way kasi I think mas madaling maintindihan yun, Alan. Okay? And well, I'm afraid we ran out of time. Well, thank you very much, Alan, for sharing all of your insights.
Pleasure and privilege, Sir Juan.
Well, how do I say this? Last man standing is going to be a woman?
We shall see.
Question of the day. No?
We shall see.
Is pink the color of the day?
Magiging kulay rosas pa ang bukas.
Let me wrap this up. So, mga kapatid, we've got a very, very nice, extensive discussion. Pero you know, what strikes me about this discussion, it's not just about the candidate. Diba? It's not just about the candidate. It's also about the followers of the candidate. And I think that's going to be the story of VP Leni's campaign. Win or lose, it's going to be a story of the candidate and his, or rather, her, naku, wag ka makamali, her followers and supporters. That's the story that's emerging. And how this plays out, let's see who's still standing. Again, I'm Mon Isberto. This is Optics, the politics of perception.